Welcome back to Killer Fun, where we explore the intersection of crime and entertainment every other week. I'm Christy, and today, Jackie and I are still on hiatus, but we have fresh, fun, new content just for you. We have all of our outtakes from RobOctober. We talked about scary killer robots all of October, and RobOctober is one of our favorite series that we've ever done. We had so much fun talking about these robots, real and fictional. First up, I have our outtakes from unknown killer robots. Of course, there's flubs. There's always flubs. We talk about how difficult it can be to fact check the military. Is AI the next internet? We talk about a hitman and the challenges of those jobs, drone mapping, and so much more. Enjoy. I'm Christy.
And I'm Jackie.
And today we are welcoming you. We are. How do I fact check shit from the military? I can't. I don't know.
There are a few things.
There's a few things.
I caught a few things right off.
Yeah, you caught a few things, but I was like, this is going to, just like, unless somebody is just blatantly lying or like, I can't even fact check it. Okay, I know what the military press releases say. Is that accurate?
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. It'd probably be easier to fact check the companies, right? A little bit.
Even then.
It's hard because it's all under lock and key.
And it's all military contracts
all.
and stuff. So they've all got high level clearance and shit. Like slip.
Well, if you need something, I've got something.
It's fine.
We'll get there.
If you want to just interject with it. If it comes up. If it doesn't, just be before we move on.
Okay.
They can report that. They can reform. Mm-hmm. That's not a word. Reform. I'm two. Is it? I think I'm just 2 drinks in.
Yeah, I think just 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a lightweight. All right. In that one way. Okay. All right. So Brandon of Shield AI called AI the next internet.
Yeah, I appreciated his analogy there. I don't know if the years lined up, but I appreciated the analogy.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Here's the thing, because we have some big companies putting a lot of money into AI.
Right.
And so they have an impetus to say this is the next big thing.
Right.
So maybe, and yet looking at, it's only been since 2015 or 2016 that AI has really had this kind of big resurgence. Or not resurgence, surgence. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if not. I think resurgence because Hollywood was first.
Okay, sure. Okay.
We talk a lot about does life imitate art or art imitate life?
Sure.
And really, when did the first Terminator come out? That'd be the 90s.
Yeah.
Right? And then before that, we're talking about Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So that was Mary Shelley, way back. And then
right.
So I'm I don't know that we've kind of had this idea of artificial intelligence way before, which was kind of I don't know.
I don't know.
What?
But it was science fiction, and now it's kind of catching up. Art and life imitate one another. Because we have art that dreamed of these things, and now we're trying to make them a reality. But there are things that do transform business forever.
Oh, forever.
The internet did that. It
Absolutely.
Really transformed. But, we had the internet that was this big thing, but then we also had the .com boom. Mm-hmm. Where everybody thought they should have it, and which now everybody does, basically. But everybody thought they were going to have it and make a lot of money at it.
Right. And now it's
just like
Yellow Pages.
Right. It's like the normal course of business. But it did change everything. And then there's things that we call disruptive tech.
Right.
Which is like cryptocurrency, where a lot of companies put a lot of money into it, and all it did was make them lose money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, I think
maybe.
I think of things like the iPhone, like
Yeah.
smartphones,
Right.
Which didn't start with iPhone.
No.
Give credit where credit is due, but like BlackBerry especially, right? Which is still that BlackBerry still is like the power of military wireless technology and
Right.
things like that. You know,
Yeah.
like my husband has an iPhone for work. It's run by BlackBerry.
Yeah.
Right. Like these are the things, but but that was completely disruptive and changed everything. Now, like, okay,
Yeah. We put a computer in your pocket.
yeah. Like, did you see the movie Jumanji?
I haven't seen the
one?
new one.
Okay. Well, like Jack Black is like plays the teenage girl. And she's in the game. She's like, I just want my phone. You can hear Jack Black doing it, but the guy who's been stuck in the Jumanji, like Tom, what is his name? Hanks, Tom Hanks' son. He's in the game when they get there. Okay. And he
Colin
Hanks. And he turns around and goes, "Does phone mean something different to you?"
Yes.
Died.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Very funny. Or maybe it wasn't Colin Hanks. It's the character that Colin Hanks plays as the older person. I forget who played it in the game. Sorry. All right. Y'all drop that in the comments. Fix me.
Okay.
Okay.
Colin Hanks was in a really great comedy too. It was called Life in Pieces. It was so funny. I watched it all on.
I should watch
like
that. I like him.
I like him too. It's on Hulu.
Okay. Yeah.
That's an aside.
Okay.
It was very fun. I really
Life in
liked
Pieces.
it. Now we didn't talk about it on the air, so I'm not going to say that. We talked about that.
We talked about that
20 minutes ago. No, 45 minutes ago. Because if you don't instill it, I'm gonna take it's like I'm making moonshine.
We have some.
Instill it. I know. I have had some a little earlier. If you don't instill, it's 2 drinks in. Okay. That's fair.
Those loans would have never been given out until the banks were like, make it happen. And then people all over the place was like, above my pay grade.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Okay.
Here, an interest only double mortgage. Good for you. And good luck. Right? A lot of people knew. I have a personal experience with that too. Right? We sold our house in 2006.
Okay.
In Massachusetts, right? Not cheap because everything was stupid expensive up there, right? But we sold it and we sat like you used to. You sat with the people who were buying your house.
Right.
And you signed this paperwork or whatever. And we did that. And then, okay, you're going to be funded for your house. Okay, great. Yeah, shake hands, whatever. Hey, you want to go to lunch, right? Like, and they were like, oh no, we have to stay. We have some more paperwork to sign. So we were like, oh, okay. All right. So we walk out and our realtor informs us, yeah, they have a second loan. Oh. We said they took out 2 mortgages at once, 2 at once. And the realtor was like, yeah, we've seen this happen a lot. It's kind of weird. And they're both interest only. What? Who gives it 2 interest only loans up front? That means massive balloon payments, likely. Double mortgage, that was before, but it was the beginning.
Yeah. So, because they assumed that they would be able to, they weren't planning on staying in that house for more than a few years.
No, but they ended up.
Literally,
we sold it. We saw it go back on the market. It was the same owners. From 06 to like 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So good for them. They made it.
They made
had
it
high
through.
paying jobs. But I mean, really? We had to lower the price on our house because the market was already starting to change. They are the exception.
Yeah.
But I remember in that moment, even the realtor going, yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah,
I don't know
weird.
what's happening with this. And we're going, well, we're out. We're going to Korea because this sounds really weird. Right? So like, I feel like AI probably would have actually picked up on those things.
Okay. Maybe.
So, but that's my bias.
That's all depending on what data sets it had access to.
What data sets it was provided.
I mean, this is the conundrum.
This is the conundrum.
Yeah. So there was a dog fight simulation.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. So Mike Benitez was a pilot in the Air Force, or you looked it up. He wasn't exactly
he was a weapons systems officer.
Okay, so a pilot, but a pilot-ish.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I am not an expert on how, but I understand that like there is a difference a little bit between the weapons systems officer and a pilot. You know,
okay, right.
a fighter pilot per se, right. Or there's different roles on aircraft. This man has flown. I did see like tons of missions on a lot of different aircraft.
Right. So he's a pilot.
He is. Yeah. Oh, of course. I mean,
maybe he doesn't have a lot of field experience in dogfights.
I don't know about that.
Right.
Yeah. Or
maybe not.
He wouldn't be primary. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. He might have been in that second seat, right?
We probably need somebody to explain it a little better than that. I just know that, like, if he's flown on a ton of different aircraft, that would be unusual. A pilot typically sticks to one.
Right.
Right after training.
Sure.
Right? Or after that initial training, then they get assigned.
And they become an expert on one.
Right. Or if he's a weapons systems officer after the initial training, then he would jump around. But so, like, there's definitely differences in the way that works. Mm-hmm. And you could tell by some comments on his LinkedIn.
Okay.
By a fighter pilot who kind of made a Top Gun joke.
Okay.
But then kind of made the joke of, well, they'll still need a WSO though.
Yeah.
You know, just to be clear. But I mean, if your commercial plane says, "Is there a pilot on board?" This is still your man,
right? Yeah, okay?
Yeah.
They're like,
send him.
The pilot and the co-pilot have both succumbed to heart attacks.
Yes, send him to the cockpit.
Yeah,
he's your man.
He's the best choice.
Yeah.
So he seemed very concerned.
Oh, bless his heart.
Bless his heart. I get it. Mm-hmm. I do. I get it. The press release from DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, that did the Alpha Dogfight Trials event, was a little more optimistic, which I appreciate.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yes, they did a series of simulated dogfights against what they deem a experienced Air Force F-16 pilot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he would, of all people who knows how to deal with the weapon system and kill another aircraft out of the sky, is him.
Yes. So what they took away from it is not, we're all going to die, which is kind of was I was like, yeah, the look on his face. They had this to say: the Alpha Dogfight Trials outcome shows great promise for future airborne combat systems and concepts involving human-machine symbiosis.
Cute, yeah,
yeah. So they're saying, look, we're gonna have AI that assists the pilot.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
And that totally makes sense.
Well, because I felt bad for the guy. They put him in a simulator that was like a virtual reality, so he had the goggles on, and he's in this simulator-ish kind of situation that looks far more like an arcade game. But I'm thinking, oh my God, he is losing badly, and he is pulling 0 Gs. None, not at all, not anything. He needs 0 oxygen at all. He literally doesn't have to actually physically worry about his plane falling out of the sky. At all.
And he's still losing really bad.
Really badly. Yeah. But I wondered, and I don't know whether they talked about it, I wondered how many laws of physics the AI actually defied. And
that's fair.
I would want to know more about, like, okay, the AI has no fear of death, so it's just going to do things because if it falls out of the sky, it falls out of the sky. Whatever. And I think the Payco, his call sign, he said, he was like, it had no fear of, he had a reckless abandonment for safety.
Yes. Because it did not have fear.
It did not.
Because it was not programmed to.
So he's flying safely, keeping his aircraft in the air. Because he knows to do that. He didn't even have to, but it's trained inside of him. I have no idea whether that was really a fair fight.
Well, and maybe it's really not. If you don't instill fear into the AI, then it's not going to have a impetus to protect the very expensive equipment that is operating. So as long as it achieves its objective, it doesn't, as far as the AI is concerned, it doesn't matter whether the hardware gets destroyed.
Yeah. Well, and I'm like looking at this screen and I'm going, I don't really know that the plane can do that. Can the plane actually do that and not break apart? Like, I would love for them to have talked about it verbally just to say, they had to do that.
I'm telling you, this could have been like 6 30-minute episodes that were really well done, that were more in depth and could have been really interesting.
Yeah, because if they could have just told us, like, this aircraft has been trained too, and it will not defy physics. It won't do anything that puts stress on the aircraft or the fuselage in a way that would I don't know, result in some sort of like potential for catastrophic failure.
Right.
Because whether the AI is smart or not, the aircraft is still physical. Gravity still, and sometimes it won't be the AI flying. It'll be the mechanics on the ground. Then they didn't fix something or whatever because human error. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. What if there's geese in the sky? Have we talked about the geese in the sky? I don't know.
They must be Canadian geese. I mean, they're going to fight that F-16.
Head on. Head on. They are not afraid. Talk about playing chicken. No. Playing geese. But solely one.
Here's the thing. We don't even really understand how AI makes its decisions.
Say more. Say more about this.
Okay, so Forbes had an article. Preempting Pandora, ensuring AI safety despite its unpredictable nature. There's this thing called interpretability, where we can understand like point A to point B.
Right.
So like if you have a conversation with somebody and you start out talking about spaghetti, and the next thing you know, you're talking about, pink elephant balloons.
Right.
And you're like, how did we get to talking about pink elephant balloons when we started at spaghetti? And then you think back on it and you can trace the conversation.
Right. Yeah.
You understand how you got there. If you give AI a goal, it will go and try and achieve that goal. And it doesn't leave the trail of breadcrumbs for us to see how it got there.
So there seems to be a lot of holes because we can't figure out how it got there.
Because we can't make the connections that it did.
Yeah. Maybe they're asking the wrong people, because I feel like, give me that job. I think I'd be good at that.
You would be good at that.
Actually, what they need to do is hire a bunch of people who have ADHD. Because let's be clear, most of these nerds who are working on this don't have ADHD. If they would just go talk to people who have ADHD, they could be like, oh, I know how they got there. Oh, that makes total sense.
Right.
And I don't have ADHD, but I had a lot of friends who did, and I learned. I learned how to make the jump because they would teach me.
Right.
Because they would realize, oh, yeah, I know that was like really weird, but this is how I got there. And I'd be like, well, that was a weird jump, but I see it now.
Yeah. Right. Ala Nagata is the chief technology officer at Alcatel Telecommunications. And he said most AI models are based on association, not cause and effect. They look for patterns in data, but they don't know why the patterns are there. This means they can make guesses without knowing how the causes work, which makes it hard for humans to understand how they make their decisions.
Oh, again, I reiterate my point.
Yeah, you think
this is exactly why.
Yeah. This is why we need neurodivergence.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Because associations in no way mean correlations.
Right.
The fact is they're looking for correlations and they're not, and they're associations, and that makes some total sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, hire me. How much are you paying for somebody to help you with that?
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah.
And I have others who could use that too. Yeah.
What we should really be afraid of is the unimaginable scenario.
Right.
That because we can't prevent something we can't foresee.
Right.
I have a little psychosis, a little confession time.
Okay.
Evidently, this is a bad thing, and I always thought it was just being prepared.
Okay, sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but the way you said that was so like, I don't know. Okay, do go on. Please share. Please share.
So I've always had this like kind of thing, like the worst things that have ever happened in my life are the things I didn't see coming.
Right.
And
Okay.
so I kind of do this disaster scenario running in my head sometimes.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
a little better about it than I used to be.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I would imagine awful things and I'd be like, okay, I've really never been hurt that badly by things I could foresee coming because I could prepare for them.
Right.
So if I can see it coming, or if I can't see it coming, if I imagine these disaster scenarios, then I can prepare for them. So either I've thought about it and therefore I'm prepared for it. And therefore when it comes to pass, it won't be so bad.
Right.
Or because I imagined it, it just won't happen.
Right. That's the superstitious part of it.
Right. Yeah. Like,
Right.
you know, this is a service I provide to my family and friends.
Yes.
I imagine the disaster situations and then they won't happen.
Right. Yeah. I understand this. I think labeling it bad is a little harsh. I do, because I think it's more normative than people realize.
Okay.
Catastrophizing, however, about it post the imagining.
Okay.
Right? Maybe is once it starts to disrupt your life. If
Yeah.
it's disrupting functioning.
Okay.
Now it's a problem.
It makes me feel better.
Right. And a little superstition, we all have a little superstition. That's fine. You know, I think there's people have the reverse thing too. If I imagined it and it's good, now I've ruined it.
Oh, well,
I've jinxed
I have a little bit of that too.
Right? And I think like me too. I mean, like I don't yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying, that like sometimes it's like, oh, well, maybe I don't need that level of anxiety about things.
Right. Yeah. If I can think through it, you know, okay, so if the tornado hits.
Right. Right.
But now the tornado is probably not going to hit because now I know what I would do.
Right, that's the superstition part of it, but also being prepared is not bad.
Right. Exactly. I feel like I'm set either way.
Yeah.
Either I mentally prevented the disaster.
Right. That's the part that's maybe not so healthy. But the part about like the preparing, not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, I think it's good.
We all have a little.
Oh, we all do.
Something.
My superstition is if I think about it, then I have to address it.
Okay.
If I think about, I should grab my thing. I don't need it. Oh, I'm going to need it. 'Cause I'm trying to give my brain more credit.
Okay.
Right? Like when I thought about like, I don't need to grab that jacket. It's not going to. No, grab it. If you thought about it, just do it.
Yeah, just put it in the car.
You might not need it, but if you thought about it, do it because your brain is making kind of a predictive based on whatever it's seeing that I'm not conscious of. Because our brain on our senses see a lot more than I will interpret as important. So I'm trying to pay more attention to like the things that it sees and thinks about that I have devalued because I don't have framework for it yet. So like just do the thing.
Okay.
Just do the thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right? Like just trying to like expand my interpretive power by expanding how much I'm consciously aware of. Right? Which is the same thing that training that people who deal with crisis on the front lines and things like that go through.
Okay.
That they try to expand. Right? So it could be catastrophizing, but could also be like, hey, I've just made a choice to become a more super aware individual about things.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, good. Okay.
Maybe so it's not bad. Yeah.
It might be bad.
It might be.
But I'm not, hindered by it, really.
Well, that's what's important.
So there we go.
There you go. Yeah, see, this is one of those things the way you could trace.
This is the autonomous thing.
Yeah.
Is they don't want to kill them, but they want them dead all the same.
Right, all the same.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I followed that train of thought just fine. And so those who can't, we're still for hire.
Yeah, that's
If you would like our help.
very true. I could be convinced for the right price.
We all have a price.
Hitmen and perhaps people who do things that control weapon systems. Maybe the people who control drones or have in their job duties the possibility that they might hurt someone. also have to have a particular mindset.
Yeah.
They have to be able to look at it as they're doing a job.
A job, yeah.
The person is not a person. They are a target. And so this is the kind of thing that if you're a military member who's blowing things up with drones, if you're a police officer, if you're a hitman, which is on the illegal side of things, you can't think of them as people.
The PTSD has been very real for drone pilots, particularly. Like that was kind of our first foray into this, and the weird thing about that is being absent the context of war made it worse, not better.
Okay.
Because, you do things in war, but it also is at least congruent. Right. There's a story to tell that makes sense. And so that story that makes sense provides a sort of balm against a prolonged stress reaction. So drone pilots, we realized, I think to our credit, we actually realized it fairly soon. People would probably disagree, but I think realistically, we actually did well. But realizing that these individuals got up in the morning, made coffee with their family, maybe dropped a kid off at school or at least hugged them goodbye, said goodbye, got in the car, maybe fed the dog before they left, whatever, went to work, walked in. It was like scuttlebutt as usual, whatever, take your coffee cup, go into a dark room and shut the door, and you're immediately at war.
Right.
And then you do the thing, except it's not a video game.
Right.
And you know that.
And you're not really facing the threat. You are the threat.
Yes.
So it's not like you have that, if I didn't shoot him, he was going to shoot me.
It's lack of a congruent story because they don't have all the information either. They're given a little bit more.
They're
more than we think, but it's not just like X marks the spot, but nevertheless, it's not the same thing as at least being in the war, where at least the environment is congruent with the story. But you go, you do the thing. And then at the end of the day, you walk out, scuttlebutt. Okay, shoot the breeze, get in your car. What's next on my to-do list? Oh, there's a soccer game tonight.
Pick up the dry cleaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there's zero time for that to process. And all of a sudden you're at a soccer game and these flashbacks are coming back.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a kid. Did I see a kid today? No, I didn't hit the kid. Right?
Right.
There's a lot of second guessing. So we realized it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I know, again, I get it. People are going to say we did not realize that quick enough. It's never going to be quick enough.
No.
FYI, ever. But reality, we did realize it quicker. Whether we've done the right things to fix it, okay, whatever. But the point being that, our drone pilots and things like that have severe not all of them. A lot of them have come out and we've documented a decent caseload of individuals who are experiencing symptoms of PTSD as if or worse
than they were in
than
theater.
Those who were deployed physically. So there was questions like, do we deploy them to these positions just at home? Like, okay, now you're on base, you're at barracks, whatever. At least that story, it makes sense. You're there, or whatever, and then they're in your home, right? Maybe, I don't know. There's talks. That was the last I heard of it, and that was a while ago. So I don't know.
I had a dream once. A little aside.
Okay,
I had a dream once. And I was laying on my side in the bed in my dream.
Okay.
And I saw someone peek around a corner.
Okay.
And when I woke up, I was laying in that exact position. And I didn't know if I had been dreaming or not.
Oh, no.
So I got up and I took a large piece of metal wall art off the wall and walked around the house with it.
I think you've told me this story.
Because I was convinced.
I think we talked about it on the podcast.
Have we?
Yes, because I think I remember you posting a picture of.
Oh, yes, it is.
Because it's still here.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I know exactly where it is. I can reach it all. It's fine. But I know that where it is and how to get to it. And this was my woke up petrified.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it because I have this heart hung a strategic place for me, and I have in every house I've lived in. It's not like the first time. Like I know where that is, and I have other things.
Yeah.
Strategically placed for my advantage, and so that I can get in front of my kids. Right? Little things.
Smart.
I also have a big dog, so
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Me too.
Yeah.
I worry about it less now that I have a big dog.
Big dog. Or at least a big scary sounding dog, but big dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So autonomous drone mapping, which we mentioned, is not primarily used in combat situations. This is a relatively new idea for that. What it is primarily used for, from Exxon Technologies, which is one of the manufacturers who's working in these, that it's mostly for underground mining.
Oh.
So that it can autonomously go. Like they say, go map the mine.
Okay.
And it goes. It doesn't need Wi-Fi. It doesn't need a tether point to return to. Nothing. It just goes, maps the whole thing, and then when it comes back in range of your iPad or whatever, downloads the information. There you go. You have the map. It is super cool.
Wow.
And
Digital canary.
Yes. Yes. I don't know if it can analyze like
Structure.
Well, no, it only analyzes structure and mapping. Maybe not like air quality or stuff like that. But I don't know if it does that, but maybe not from this particular company. And that it typically, they can only fly for 16 minutes.
Yeah.
But typically they only need 10 because they're traveling at 2 to 3 meters a second.
All right, like they're so fast.
Yeah, like so what we saw in Unknown Killer Robots is really slowed down.
Right.
It was much slower than what it would probably actually do. It would zip around and do the whole thing. Like the guy turned and shot at it. It was them watching the screen and being entertained.
Yeah.
It was not this is how we're mapping it.
That makes sense, honestly, because if you've ever tried to fly a drone, they do move very quickly.
Too zippy.
They're very zippy.
I mean, this is why they get out of range of your...
So fast
of your controller.
Yeah, or too high and then fall from the sky. Yeah.
They're trying to develop it to be able to be used in construction zones as well.
Oh,
so like to be able to go and map the construction and make sure everything's going in correctly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without having to walk the entire structure.
Okay.
Yeah. These substances that the Collaborations Pharmaceuticals AI model came up with were deadlier almost in their entirety than the VX nerve agent that was used to kill Kim Jong-nam a few years ago, the half-brother of North Korea's leader. And so I was like, how deadly is it really? I mean, VX, it's really deadly.
That's bad. Yeah.
It's really bad. Basically what it does, you can spray it or rub it on somebody's skin, and it's pretty dangerous either way. And basically what it does is it makes all your muscles contract and then you suffocate.
Yeah.
And atropine, if administered quickly enough, could help alleviate the symptoms. It's not an antidote exactly, but it is colorless, tasteless, odorless. If it's in its most pure form, even if it's not exactly those things, it would only be light yellow. It wouldn't be something you'd really notice. It takes very little of it. You can spray it in the air, which is probably what happened to this Korean gentleman. But it also doesn't evaporate very quickly. So, it's one of those you could like put on something and then somebody could come along and touch it and it's bad.
It's not good things.
No. All right, here's one.
All right.
AI looked at 6 photos of oatmeal raisin cookies and 6 photos of chocolate chip cookies and was able to then effectively identify better than a human could which cookies are chocolate chip and which cookies are oatmeal raisin.
All right. I mean,
I love an oatmeal raisin cookie that's really good. But if you think it's a chocolate chip cookie, it's not good.
Okay, I never had this. I don't know. I'm not resonating because I'm like, I don't feel like there's ever a second in my life I wouldn't know the difference between those two cookies. Okay. So like,
evidently,
maybe I just don't need enough cookies. I need to be exposed to more cookies that look like one another. Right? Like this is my problem.
It feels like we need to find some
like I need to
and
have
chocolate chip cookies that look the same.
By all means, because I cannot tell you, I don't know of any.
I think like the store bought. You and I, when we eat an oatmeal raisin cookie, we're eating the good ones. We're not eating the crummy ones that come in the 84 of them in a pack. I mean, those are the ones that you can confuse for one another.
I don't know. Like the iced oatmeal cookie, like in the like the cheap ones?
No, oatmeal raisin, not oatmeal.
I mean, yeah, the oatmeal raisin,
but those aren't usually iced.
Those aren't usually iced.
Yeah. But I mean, at a glance, it can be difficult to tell them apart.
Glance. I don't know. Okay. Well, now I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go look.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to look at some photos.
Yeah.
I lied. Couldn't do it in under 2 hours. All of the sources that we use to inform our discussion here on Killer Fun Podcast can be found on our social media. Join us on Facebook at Killer Fun Podcast, exploring the intersection of crime and entertainment. You can find us on Twitter at Killer Fun Pod, or you can send us an email at killerfunpodcast@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to share a link to whatever information you're looking for. We love to hear from you. You might learn a little something too. Next up, we have all of our outtakes from Megan, M3GAN. Gosh, it was a fun movie. Really well made, fun, schlocky horror fest. Doesn't take itself too seriously. It's not too gory. Gosh, we just really enjoyed this movie for exactly what it was. Is it the height of cinema? No. Is it a ton of fun to watch? Absolutely. I forgot what a Hatchimal was called, which I can't believe because one of my children got a Hatchimal for Christmas with the year that they were the It toy. We talk about the size of Iowa, socialization concerns for homeschoolers, production costs of Megan, Forest School, and a lot of other things as well. Enjoy. Allison Williams is the Super Smobart.
Smobart? Smobart.
Amy Donald is the physical Megan. She did almost all her own stunts, and she all the dancing. She's like a ballet dancer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yep. And she was also in Sweet Tooth. On Netflix.
Oh, wait,
that was
wait.
like the little hybrid, human-animal hybrid children that were born. It was a cute little show.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to go back. I for some reason picture it, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, it had a little boy with antlers.
Okay, no, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay,
I'll go have to look that up.
Yeah, we had a little Furby-like creature that hatched out of an egg. I don't remember what it was called.
Wait.
My youngest was excited about that.
Yes.
And
it was this little miniature resurgence of this type of. I don't remember.
This has gone through a bunch of resurgences,
yeah,
so that's a lot of.
But I'm gonna have
options.
to look that up later because I have like this memory of this thing with the egg. Yeah,
and it like spun around inside and chipped its way out.
Yes, and it hatched itself.
I don't remember
what it was called.
That connected through YouTube through Bluetooth, not through YouTube. Iowa, just for giggles and grins, is bigger than Iceland or England. So
okay,
it's like, is it bigger than countries that get snow? Yes, it is.
In space or not in people though?
No,
but in space.
Maybe in people. I watched a comedy show a guy from Iceland today, and Iceland only has a population of 350,000.
Yeah,
I think there's more people in Iowa than that.
that's true. But England, for sure.
Yeah.
More people in England.
Probably more people.
Just because there's
England.
there's big cities.
Right. Exactly.
But Iceland, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like,
Yeah.
So Gemma was very concerned with Katie's socialization because she'd been homeschooled by her mother. I can see where, depending on how that situation played out, maybe Gemma's concerns were founded in some ways, and yet,
this is a constantly busted myth right here.
Exactly. Creative Education had a study published in July of 2020, Social Skills for Homeschooling Students. And basically the study concluded that most parents who homeschool their kids don't keep them in a bubble.
Right.
And they're also concerned with their homeschooling or their socialization as part of their homeschooling, and that because they tend to be taught a specific set of morals and values, that they tend to actually relate really well with their peers and other adults, and that as long as the parents facilitate these sort of social interactions, they're actually better socialized than some of their peers.
It's interesting how that's a rampant myth.
Yeah. Well, and here's why, because we've all met that homeschool kid who's a little strange, and we're like, oh, if they'd just been socialized. But the fact is, those kids probably ended up homeschooled because they're neurodivergent.
Yes, exactly.
And they weren't thriving in that environment.
Right. Yeah.
I
mean, usually that's the case, but you're right. There are some situations that are not homeschooling. They're just cults.
Right.
And so, to be fair,
those don't count.
Those don't count. That's not what we're talking about. So,
no, we're not talking about the unschooling,
right?
Where they're like
whatever, or the super strict schooling that's control.
Yeah,
that's
part
different
of
too.
Your school day is mending clothes and washing dishes, girls.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Little Handmaid's Tale going on in some of those situations.
Right.
But by and large. Yeah.
All right. So the production costs for Megan.
Oh my gosh. I was actually impressed.
Okay. So David asks Gemma more or less than a Tesla. And I'm like, it better be less than a Tesla if they're only going to charge 10 grand for this thing.
Oh, I know. That was stupid. But the production cost, I was like, yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
And that it only cost $100,000 to develop her seems low to me, but whatever.
Yeah.
How much does
clearly it wasn't done.
Right. Clearly not.
Yeah.
But there was $100,000 worth of tech just in her body.
I mean,
let
easy.
alone all of the programming, the AI programming situation.
Yeah. No, that was all fantasy.
Yeah. The average cost of production per Tesla in Q4 2022 was $39,000. And it actually fell in the first quarter of 2023 to $37,000.
Wow.
They have an aim to get their production costs down to $20,000 to make them more affordable. But
wow.
Yeah. But I'm like, well, if you're only charging, if it depends on the model, this must be a time in the future when Teslas cost less.
I mean, this must be. Are we talking about a used one, a fleet?
I mean,
a fleet vehicle we're buying?
No, don't. Other than Megan being overly zealous in her defense of Katie, Forest School looked really fun.
I mean, it did.
Forest School looked really fun.
It did look fun.
And it is a hands-on learning environment in the woods. Typically, they kind of portrayed it as somewhere Katie would go every day.
Yeah, forest school every day.
No.
Yeah, that feels like more of a co-op situation.
Yes, and it's like she would still be able to continue her formal studies with Megan.
Yeah.
And once a week, probably
Maybe,
go and do these collaborative things in this natural environment that help build teamwork and problem-solving skills and interpersonal skills.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these things are, helpful.
I mean, unless they also have a school building, and it's called Forest School because they go out there a lot. But I don't think that's what it is.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so either. I think they took the idea of forest school and ran with it.
Yep, I think so.
Because they wanted to put Megan in the forest with a bully.
Yes, that's it.
Why. I don't know why such a high-tech company had such an old school paper cutter.
I hate those things.
Those guillotine
Oh my
paper
God.
cutters are so freaking dangerous.
And they're so scary.
They are scary.
I always think I'm going to chop my finger off.
I know. My mom did when I was a
What?
kid. She
No.
cut off the side of her finger.
Oh.
They had to take her to the hospital and sew it back on.
Oh my gosh.
They pulled me out of my class to show me the giant ass Band-Aid they put on my mom's, the like huge bandage that they put on my mom's finger. I don't know why they felt the need to do that.
I mean, ew.
I could have learned it at home just fine.
I mean, just fine.
Whatever. It was
Okay.
all right. But they're
Wow.
dangerous.
Yes.
Don't take the guard off. Everybody takes
Everybody
the
does.
stupid guard off. Leave the guard on.
Yeah.
You won't cut your fingers off.
I
It's
hate
dumb.
them.
Yeah.
And they don't work. And they get warped so easily.
They really do. They
I'm
really
like,
do.
just print the size paper you need. If you have one of those paper cutters, you also probably pay a lease on a really stupidly large copy machine, and it probably prints on multiple sizes papers. Just get the paper you need to print it. Of course, that's the only time I use it is when I had to print something and like cut it in half. I'm not crafty, so I'm sure there's like 100 other uses, right?
There are,
but that's all I know about.
But you know what? I'd rather do it more times with a safer,
safer method.
sort of cutting board. Like I have the little slider.
Oh, yeah.
Cutting thing. I'd rather do it more times in a safer way and have it be accurate
Mm-hmm.
because they were also not super accurate. I mean, it would like the stuff would slide if you did more than 5 sheets of paper anyway.
Exactly. It's not like they're like, oh, I have all kinds of opinions about that. No.
Yeah. But again, it served a plot point. $10,000 as a retail price for Megan seems shockingly low, especially when FAO Schwartz offered a motorized 4-car train set that was embellished with Swarovski crystals for $12,000.
Wow.
Another Swarovski crystal embellished mode of transportation was Neiman Marcus's Mercedes G63, also $12,000. You can buy a $4,000 chess set, a bear that's like those little rocking horses when you sell a little horse. Oh, it's such a cute little bear for $625.
Wow.
I mean, these are very like low tech sort of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
That she was $10,000.
No.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
But thank you so much for listening. We know you make a choice when you listen to us. We don't just come on the radio, and we really appreciate that you take the time to download and listen. Please tell a friend. That's one of the ways that we can grow. It's a simple, easy thing that you can do to help support our podcast is just tell a friend to have them listen as well. And it's also a lot more fun when you can listen with a friend. We'll be back with you next week. That's right, just next week with our spoiler-full Death at a Dive Bar gameplay. It's not as long as Mystery at Magnolia Garden, but we also had a lot of fun with that, and there's a lot of fun things in there. It's worth checking out. We hope that you will. And until next time, be safe, be kind, and wash your hands.
Da, da, da.